officially the start of the holiday season, at least in the makeup world. Cue the fancy title sequence. Shawnee, aka Total Makeup Junkie 101. Did that title sequence get you guys in the holiday spirit? I really hope it did, because we are going to be doing a whole bunch of holiday reviews. You guys know the drill if you have been following my channel for a while. Last year I did my holiday review palooza. This year it is called the holiday review extravaganza. During this series I collect as many of the big holiday palettes and sets and value kits that all of the major brands release in Sephora and Ulta, and I try to come on here and do reviews twice, sometimes thrice a week. Is thrice really a word? I've heard people say it, but I don't know if it's actually a word. But I sounded super fancy, didn't I? Either way, this series was incredibly well received last year. Many of you guys loved it, and I got a lot of you guys hyped for this go around on my social media pages like Snapchat and Instagram. And if you follow me on those social media, you know which videos are in store for you this week. We are kicking off holiday review extravaganza with a really hyped product, and it hasn't necessarily been hyped in a good way. This is the new Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit palette. I picked this palette up at Sephora.com. It retails for $80, which is a lot of money. It comes in a really pretty golden box like this. This is what the palette looks like inside. The outer case is really pretty. It's kind of like a gunmetal golden chrome type color. Very reflective and metallic-y. It does tend to hold fingerprints on it like most of this type of material does. Now, if you take a little look inside the palette, it is absolutely gorgeous. You do get a nice big full-size mirror at the top. And as far as the shades you are getting 3 shades of ambient lighting powder across the top, 2 shades of ambient lighting blush, and 1 shade of ambient lighting bronzer. To quickly read off the names, you are getting Dim Light, Iridescent Light, Diffused Light, Mood Exposure Blush, Luminous Flush Blush, and Luminous Bronze Light Bronzer. I will say that all of these powders can be purchased individually, with the exception of the one ambient lighting powder here in the center, which is called Iridescent Light. That is the only powder that is exclusive to this kit. Where this product has been getting the most critiques, and it is something that I think is very important to make note of, is the size of the palette, the amount you are getting in each of the pans, especially as compared to the price. So let's do a little comparison, shall we? Let's start with the original ambient lighting powder. This is a full-size ambient lighting powder. In this puppy, you are getting 0.35 ounces of product for $45. These are pricey little numbers. Hourglass is a luxury makeup brand. I view their products as luxury. If you're paying almost $50 for a single powder, that is luxurious. To put this into perspective, in the original ambient lighting powder palette, you guys know the one where you get 3 different shades of ambient lighting powder. This came out 2 years ago during the holiday release, but I believe this is a permanent item now. In this palette, you are getting a net weight between all 3 of the shades of 0.35 ounces, and you are paying $58. That means that you are getting the same amount of product as one full-size powder, but you are paying $13 more to get the palette. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't really mind this palette and the fact that it was more expensive, but you're only getting the same amount as a full-size powder, because you are getting the chance to try 3 different shades. And let's be honest, most of us aren't going to use up a full-size powder anyways. So to be able to try 3 different shades for much less than the price that you would pay 3 of them individually, I still thought it was a good deal. Now let's go ahead and talk about this puppy. In this palette, you are getting 0.294 ounces of product. Remember, you are getting 0.35 ounces in a full-size powder. So between all 6 of these pans, you are getting less than one full-size powder, and you are still paying $80. And to put this into a little bit more perspective for you guys, each of these pans contains the same amount of product as one full-size MAC eyeshadow. That's a little bit of a problem because these are face products. These are not eyeshadows. If you are dusting this all over your cheek or all over your face, you're gonna be using this up quite quickly. Now, don't get me wrong, I still do understand the appeal of this palette because for less than the price that you would be paying for 2 full-size ambient lighting powders, you are getting the chance to try 3 different shades of ambient lighting powders, 2 blushes, and a bronzer. And of course, if you use up any of these powders quicker than the others, you can always run out and purchase a full size unless the one that you happen to use up is the exclusive to this kit. But any of the other 5 you can run out and purchase full size. But if you were going to use this palette on a day-to-day basis, I can see you going through it very quickly. I don't think any of these powders would actually last you more than maybe a month or 2 of use. So let's go ahead and just jump right into swatches of all 6 of the powders that are in this palette. We will go ahead and start with the ambient lighting powders across the top. The first one you have is called Dim Light, and this one is a nice kind of subtle beige, slightly shimmery highlight. Next up, we have Iridescent Light, which is definitely the most shimmery of the 3 ambient lighting powders you have in this palette. It's a very shimmery, kind of off peachy champagne color. And the last shade you have is called Diffused Light, which is a kind of whitish cream yellowy color. As far as the 2 blushes you have here, the first one is called Mood Exposure, which is a really nice kind of neutral peachy brownish toned color. And then the next one you have is called Luminous Flush, which turns out to be a really nice, perfect peachy pink. And then the bronzer you have is Luminous Bronze Light, which is a nice kind of warm, very orange toned bronzy color. Every single one of the powders in here does have a little bit of shimmer, including the bronzer and the blushes. So if you don't like shimmer on your face, you may not like this palette, but none of these are incredibly metallic or reflective. That's just not the nature of the ambient lighting powders. So if that's the type of highlight or powder you like to have on your face, once again, this isn't your palette. As far as color selection in this palette, I really like it. I really, really love both of the blushes. I think they work really well for my skin tone. I like all 3 shades of the ambient lighting powder, and I think the consistency of the powder and the quality of the powder that is in this palette is consistent to the full-size powders you can purchase individually. The only real gripe I have with this palette, as most people do, is the size and the amount you're getting for the price you're paying. I would have happily paid about $60 for this palette. I think $60 would have been a fair price given what it is. Or I think Hourglass could have just made the pans a little bigger. Even if they were the size of the pans in this Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette, the trio, I still think $80 would have been fair for 6 pans of this size. And here's just a little side-by-side comparison for you guys. So if you have this trio palette here, you can see how much smaller this new holiday palette is. And then comparing it to a full size on the bottom, I mean, a full size is like 4 or 5 of these combined. It's insane. As far as who do I think this palette is good for, I think if you have been wanting to try the ambient lighting powders and you still haven't splurged and given them a shot yet, I think this is a good value in terms that you can try all of the different formulas that they offer in one convenient palette. I also think this would be useful if you travel a lot and if you have a big trip planned and you don't want to take maybe the other trio palette or your individual Hourglass Ambient Lighting products. This is a nice way to have everything in one palette. But if you have that trio palette or some of the individuals and some of the blushes, or you're not interested in the blushes or the bronzer, this will definitely be a skip. I definitely would have skipped over this palette if I wasn't planning on doing a review for you guys, and I still am debating whether or not I actually want to keep it because, as I said, it is very small and a lot of the shades are repeated. I already own a lot of the shades that are in here. So I'm debating. So that's pretty much it. That wraps up my thoughts on the new Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit palette for the holiday season. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out my holiday review extravaganza playlist. It will be the first link in the description box down below, and I will be adding all of my holiday reviews to that playlist as they go live. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and please don't forget to share it with your friends and family, and of course, if this palette is on your wish list, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And I will talk to you guys in my next holiday review extravaganza video on Thursday. I'll see you then. Bye! Layout is very reminiscent of the UD 15th anniversary eyeshadow palette. Each of these glosses can be picked up individually as well. So these are not just 8 random shades.